My name is Robert Gradis. I'm the owner of Gradis Rifles. We're here today to talk about basic barrel cleaning and the goods and the tools that it takes to do it. You have to have a good coated cleaning rod, either plastic coated or a solid graphite rod. This way you don't abrade or tear up your rifling or your crown in the gun barrel. You also have to have the correct size jags to clean with, the correct brushes if you decide to use a brush, and the correct patch size. And also I like a light soft flannel patch instead of a rough one. We also use these bore guides. This is made by Russ Hayden of Russ Hayden Shooter Supply. I like it the best because you can get custom ones made, and it also has an O-ring to seal the solvents out of the breech area where you don't ruin your bedding. This is one we don't use anymore. I just thought I'd put it here for an example. Here's some of the chemicals we use. Some of these have been on the market 60, 70 years or so. I don't use a chemical any stronger than I have to get the job done. I feel like sometimes nowadays the chemicals can be too strong, cause more problems than they do, good. Anything from Hoppy's Bench Rest number 9, Wipe Out, Patch Out, and the standard Hoppy's. If you're using Danzak or Molly coated bullets, you may want to consider mixing Kroll with the Bench Rest number 9 or even Shooter's Choice. We use these oversized Q-tips that you can get from Brownells. They are really good to clean chambers and bolt raceways, and so that's what we have these here for. The main lubricant that we use for lubricating bolt bodies and bolt raceways, firing pins, and small parts in a gun is Bob Marvel's custom oil. We find it to be one of the best oils on the market. They also have a good grease that seems to work well for us. Today we're going to be cleaning a 243, and these are the only things we're going to be using today to clean them. It'll be these patches, this Tipton rod, the correct size jag, the bore guide for a 243, wind, neck diameter so the O-ring will seal. We're going to be concentrating on using Wipe Out, Patch Out today. We're going to be using a nylon brush. The biggest thing about using a nylon brush is it has a steel core that the nylon wraps around. Don't let the steel core contact your rifling or crown. We're also going to use these Q-tips to clean the raceways and the chamber. This is a Remington Model 7 that we're going to clean today. It's in 243 Winchester. What we're going to start with is making sure that the gun's unloaded. We're going to do this by pulling the bolt out of the action completely, and then we're going to take a flashlight and shine into the chamber. You can use your finger as well. Today we're going to use a flashlight and verify that the bore is not loaded, and it is not. Then we're going to pick up the appropriate size bore guide, and we're going to install it into the chamber. You'll feel the O-ring seal into the neck of the chamber, and you will not have any solvents run into your bedding. If possible, whether you're using a cleaning rack or a gun vise, have the gun slanted downhill somewhat where the solvent will tend to run out of the end of the barrel instead of back into your action trigger and bedding area. What we're going to do is we're going to use a couple of patches of Wipe Out, Patch Out to anoint the bore and to start getting the carbon and copper loosened up. Also, there's not a cap on this scope lens, and you wouldn't want to hit it with the cleaning rod or the solvent. This might be something you may add to your cleaning regimen. You don't want too tight a fitting patch, so just easily run the rod in, holding the rod centered as possible on the bore guide to help you from damaging your lead in the gun. The patch is just exited. You'll see that we have a mild bit of copper showing on the patch in a blue color, and you'll see some black powder filing. Patch exits the bore. You'll notice that there's some copper showing in the form of a blue color. There's also black carbon filing. As you pull the rod back through the crown, do so slowly where you don't damage the crown with the jag bumping it. when you're applying solvent to a patch, don't get carried away and use too much. It just causes more problems than it does good. You can see approximately what we're using. It's probably a third of the patch. And we're going to put 2 to 3 wet patches through this barrel where we'll have it thoroughly soaked to start the barrel cleaning process. And again, when you go back through the bore, you know, through your crown, do not bump the crown with your cleaning rod. Let the patch fall off gently. And we're going to do one more patch here to let it soak. And then we'll patch it out with a dry patch and read what's on the patch where we can tell what to do. One more patch. This will be a third wet patch. We'll repeat it, you know, as needed, as whatever comes out of the barrel. As you can see, most of the powder fouling is gone, and we have a little bit of blue copper fouling left. I just put 3 wet patches through the bore, and we're letting it soak where it continue to break down the copper and the carbon. And one thing I'd like to talk about at this time is the fact that your cleaning rod can get just as dirty as your gun barrel, and rubbing carbon through a gun barrel will abrade it. So at this time what we want to do is make sure that we clean our cleaning rod off with a paper towel or a rag so that we don't run the same material back through the bore several times. The solvent's been in the barrel for approximately 10 minutes soaking, and now we're going to start pushing some dry patches through it to see what's left in the barrel. As you can see, there's a good bit of copper coming out of it and a bright blue. So what we're going to do now is re-anoint the barrel with another wet patch, and then we're going to use a nylon brush to try to abrade some of the stuff that hasn't moved yet. We're going to apply our wipe-out patch out to the nylon brush and work it in the bore several revolutions. Be careful how it exits the muzzle. And you can take something like carburetor cleaner and wash your brush out. Keep it from getting out. And now's a good time to clean your cleaning rod again to make sure that we don't have a bunch of grit on it. As you can see, most every time you clean it, you get a good bit of grit off. Now we're going to put a dry patch back through after about 5 to 10 minutes of soaking time to see what we get out of the bore now. And as you can see, we got mostly carbon out this time and very little blue. So we're going to soak it one more time and see what we get out of the bore.
All right.
The barrel's been soaking about another 5 minutes after the last wet patch. We're going to start dry patching it out and see what the patches look like, where we can tell what's left in the barrel. As you can see, there's very little, if any, left on the patch, maybe a light carbon stain. And now we're going to go straight to Kroll to protect the barrel. We're going to put a patch of Kroll through and then one dry patch behind it, and this will give us a little oil in the bore to preserve the bore while it sits in the gun safe for next time you go hunting. Patch of Kroll. And one dry patch behind.